You know that rhythm that Federer gets into. You saw it when he was serving today. I like to call it Fed Funk. Because he's a funky white boy. Those pretty ball girls weren't going to stop him. Nick Kyrgios wasn't stopping him. It was all funk for Federer. Fed Funk. Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Federer is our new world number one. He has prevailed over Nick Kyrgios more decisively than he has ever prevailed over Kyrgios. Final score 6-7, 6-2, 7-6. Roger played great today. Kyrgios played quite well, but Federer certainly played more consistently today. I think he was without question the better player on the court. I want to break down that match. I want to preview the final against Raonic, and I want to talk a little bit about the rankings implications of all of this. But we know one thing. He is our world number one. Subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Let's talk tennis. Well, I received a comment right after the match in response to my last video that this really should have been a straight set victory for Federer, and it's sort of true. He did drop the first set in the breaker, but Federer outplayed Kyrgios generally on the way to the breaker. He won a greater percentage of his return points in the first set than Nick. He had more break points against Nick's serve than Nick had against Roger's serve. Nick had no break points against Roger's serve. He won 64% of his second serve points compared to Kyrgios's 50% of his second serve points. He won more love games than Nick Kyrgios. Now, Nick Kyrgios did get more of his first serves in, but Federer won more of his first serve points and generally put more pressure on Nick's serve than Nick put on Roger's serve. Nick had to play 47 points on his serve in the first set compared to Roger's 34 points. But during the tiebreak, Nick Kyrgios did turn it on and outplayed Federer from the baseline, and with serving, winning the tiebreaker 7-2. Well, the second set was a different story. This was the Fed Express. This was Fed Funk. Nick Kyrgios did lose a bit of focus. Federer was getting many more of his first serves in, 72% to be sure, and astoundingly, he won 100% of his second serves in the second set. He converted all two of his break points. In the third game, he broke, and then again in the seventh game. He won nearly 50% of his return points in the second set. This was a tour de force. This was Federer on the march, the Fed Express. Yes, he did get a couple of breaks with some Kyrgios double faults, but generally this was classic Federer. This was the Federer who is poised to win his 9th Wimbledon title very shortly. In the third set, it was even Steven right to the breaker. Nick seemed to have an advantage going into the breaker. He was able to get a mini break with an amazing retrieval, a shot that never should have been retrieved, but Nick was able to get it. But Federer broke back, protected his serve, and won the match with a beautiful half volley. The tiebreaker was won 7-5. In all, Federer is back to his winning ways, folks. He looks great, and this match again was a more decisive win over the very tough customer, Nick Kyrgios, than Federer has ever been able to achieve. Kyrgios clowns around a little bit, and I do think that it affects his focus. He'll have to kind of work on that. He needs to get serious. The clowning around isn't helping him. He will not win Grand Slams clowning around. So Federer is going to go on to meet Raonic. Raonic prevailed over Lucas Pouille today, 6-4, 7-6. The win was based on a single break and big serving, including that second serve of Raonic's, and of course, superior play in the second set tiebreaker. So Raonic is through. Congratulations to the Canadian. He looks very solid. His big serves are certainly helping him. In the head-to-head between Federer and Raonic, Federer has a very comfortable lead. He's 10-3 against Raonic. In their meetings on grass, Federer also leads 2-1. Of course, Raonic prevailed over Federer in 5 sets at the 2016 Wimbledon semifinal, but the next year, last year in 2017, Federer put Raonic away in straight sets, 6-4, 6-2, 7-6. Federer will have an edge over Raonic if he continues to serve well and sustains the level of play that he displayed today, and I think it will probably be an even more decisive match. But we'll just have to see. Raonic looks very strong. It could go either way in a sense. If Raonic is just rock solid on his serving, then it might go to the breakers, and once you're into a breaker, things can go either way. It'll be an interesting match, but for now, Roger Federer is number 1, and even if he loses to Raonic tomorrow, he will still be number 1. Now, regardless of whether he wins the final tomorrow or not, he must win Halle to retain the world number 1 position. But again, I'm not so interested in the world number 1. I'm really interested in the 9th Wimbledon title, and that's what Federer is interested in too. Drop a comment about this fantastic match today. I think Federer's secret was just that strong return game and backing up his serves so well. I mean, he wasn't serving as many aces, of course, as Kyrgios, but Federer just backs up those first and second serves. Remember, in the second set, he won 100% of his second serves. He won more love games than Kyrgios. Once again, he was clearly the stronger player, and this was a more decisive win against Kyrgios than Federer has ever been able to pull. Well, Nike better show Federer the money. It's possible that Nike had some doubts about Federer after Indian Wells and Miami, so I think Federer needs to win in order to retain Nike. I think most of us do want him to stay with Nike. Drop a comment about that as well. I don't think that this confusion with respect to Nike is doing Roger very well. And if Nike rejects him ultimately, that could hurt him psychologically. But I think he's going to be wearing Nike at Wimbledon, and I think Nike is actually looking for a win from Federer at Wimbledon. And after that, they will show him the money. Federer fans, rejoice, celebrate, pop the champagne bottles. Our man is back in form, and he is ready to kill. So we've got a lot more commentary coming up. Look forward to hearing your comments. Signing off from Boston. Bye.